But you can't deny it's true. You can't deny that's what's going on. And at this point, it's like the only people that are just doing it for personal reasons. Because they want to continue to get the access or they want to continue to get paid on social media to promote the propaganda. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So with that, we open the phone lines. 747-200-5560. 747-200-5560. And I just want to get your thoughts. I just want to get your thoughts on this Epstein debacle. I didn't have time to take calls today because there was too much news on the desk. So we will take calls tonight. All right. Now, this is how it goes. We are line to line. So I pick up, I ask you your name and where you're from, and you're on the air. All right, line to line. I pick up, you're on the air. First caller of the night. What's your name, where you're from?
Don, Oklahoma.
What's up, Don?
Hey, wow, what a mess we find ourselves in with Trump just completely selling us out with this Israeli bullshit. And yeah, it's okay to cuss on this show a little bit, ain't it?
Yeah, we don't have any censors here.
Okay. Well, I'm totally disgusted with the damn Arab Muslim lunatics and the Jewish lunatics. And then they come out to see them go, yeah, we got to kill Christians. These are Islamic or Jewish creeps that go, says so in the terrorists or Torah, you're a idolist or some sort of crap.
Idolatry. Yeah, idolatry. Yeah. Well, they don't believe in Jesus, so yeah.
Well, we gotta just stop ourselves and go, you know, screw Trump, screw the son of a bitch. He's the one that's off the rails. It's not us, and I'm sick of it because I'm getting up there a few years, and I fought long and hard to get somebody in there that could do something, and I tried to, you know, starting with Ron Paul, but he just couldn't make the cut because he wasn't flamboyant enough. Well, it's fucking New York City piece of punk, muck, whatever. I don't know what they call them in New York. Other no good cocksucker traitors to this country. And he needs to be told. His people that got him in there, I'm not supporting him. You know, if he's wrong on something, and I've already been trying to do what I could with local politicians.
Well, Trump is done. I mean, he doesn't have to run again. So it really, you know, he's done.
Yeah, but he's got people like we got James Langford as senator, and he's coming up for a re-election. And I don't know. He just happened to run some sort of Baptist children's home. I wonder what he thinks about all the fucking pedophilia shit.
I don't know. Maybe you can
up today.
Maybe you can send him maybe you can send in his office a message and see how he feels about that. Langford he's not the worst. He's not the best either. He kind of just falls in the middle of the pack. He's done some good things, some bad things. But, you know, here's another reality that some people are in denial of. Trump's political capital is losing its value fast. I mean, it's tanking. And you're almost reaching a point where Bernie Sanders and even Elon Musk have more political capital than Trump. And people will be shocked to hear this. They might not want to believe it, but I'm telling you it's true. Do not doubt me on this, folks. Trump endorses Randy Fine and tries to throw Thomas Massie under the bus. Are you kidding me? Randy Fine is a psychotic that belongs in a mental institution. And Thomas Massie is one of the last principled conservatives left in Congress. So Trump's endorsement, you know, this whole idea that Trumpism and MAGA is going to continue through multiple election cycles, I'm sorry, it's slowly withering away and dying with every passing day that we don't get deep state arrests. And it's like, I don't want to sit here and do this whole I don't want to sit here and do this whole Middle East game all day long about Muslims and Jews and Israel and it's like I don't want to do this. I don't want to care about it. I don't want to cover it. I want to be talking about deep state arrests. I want to be talking about American politicians that are corrupted and that need to be arrested. I want to talk about the people that spied on Donald Trump getting arrested. I want to talk about the people that ran the auto pen in the Biden years getting arrested. I want to talk about the people that facilitated the invasion of our country getting arrested. I want to talk about the people that were Epstein's clients that were raping little girls getting arrested. That's what I want to be talking about. But it's like, oh no, now I have to sit here and debate about Israel. Now I have to sit here and debate about Muslims and Jews. And I'm damn sick of it, man. It shouldn't have anything to do with my politics. The Middle East shouldn't have anything to do with this administration. And now it's dominated it. Now it's the number one thing in this administration. Now it's the number one thing in political commentary is Israel and the Middle East, and it shouldn't have anything to do with this. We should be focused on America first and America only right now. But no, it's just, oh, Israel all day, Ukraine all day, and on Sunday too. It's just everybody but America. Middle East, Iran, Israel, all fucking day. Meanwhile, 4th of July weekend, Philadelphia, mass shooting. Chicago, mass shooting. Floods in North Carolina, floods in Texas. Hawaii is back on fire. And is anybody talking about that? No, you're talking about Epstein, a damn pedophile sex trafficker, Mossad agent, and Netanyahu back in town convincing Trump to do another regime change war in Iran. And we're just sick of it. So yeah, you want to destroy all your political capital, and maybe Trump doesn't care. I mean, I think we have to negotiate. Does Trump even care anymore? Trump might not care. Trump might be done with politics. His family might be done with politics, and he's making other deals to preserve his life and preserve his legacy and his family into the future. He might not give a damn about his political capital. He could be using up all of his political capital right now, including the Epstein list, to leverage himself and his family into the future. So, hey, if that's fine if Trump wants to do that. Certainly he's earned it. But now you have to say, okay, where do we go from here? And if we're going to have a new party, which I think is going to happen, can it cross a threshold of relevance is another question. Maybe Musk can do that. But this is what it's going to be about. We're done in the Middle East. We're done with waste, fraud, and abuse. We're done with these intelligence agencies and these federal bureaucracies that are lying to us every day. We're done. We're shutting it all down. We're shutting it all down. And we're reinvesting everything in America, and we're repurposing everything in America and American citizens. And that's what we're talking about, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to focus on. That's what this country needs desperately, and we're not getting it. And Musk knows it. And it couldn't be more obvious. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Yeah, this is Albert from Pennsylvania.
What's up, Albert?
Oh, not a whole lot, Owen. Not a whole lot. I should actually say, I'm going to change it now. I'm from Yensylvania, not Pennsylvania. I don't want to be affiliated with Philly in that. This is still our country over here. You know what I mean? That's
yeah. Philly's basically New York anyway.
Right. First thing I wanted to do, because I haven't had a chance to call in since the whole drama about you being fake MAGA and getting hate on X and that. I remember I posted on one of the things. I just wanted to say that, until you've actually spent I would say a day, but until you spend an hour in a jail cell for ultimately your support over Donald Trump, I will not hear anything from anybody about saying that Owen is fake MAGA or he fell off the cliff or, whatever you want to say about it, because Owen was MAGA before any of these clowns was MAGA. And it's funny now because the same people who will criticize you for saying something against Trump were the same ones back in 2016, I guarantee it, that would criticize you for saying something that was pro-Trump.
Yeah.
These were the same people that said Trump didn't
No.
have a chance to win and everything. So
Yeah.
they're no longer the neo-cons; they're the neo-MAGA.
You know what?
That's what I'm going to call them.
That's hilarious. I could tell you what other people are calling them: magatards,
Yeah.
cultists.
Yeah.
But you know, what you're saying is true, actually. And I didn't even think about that extra little addition that you made there, because I noticed, because this is what's happened with me. In 2015 and 2016, when I was supporting Trump since day one, out on the streets, everything, I was attacked by right-wingers, and the addition you made there was exactly that. It said, oh, supporting Trump is going to cost us the election. If you support Trump, a Democrat will win the election. You can't support Trump, you're giving it to Hillary. Well, I guess none of them ended up thanking me for getting Trump in and supporting him the whole time. That's fine. We didn't do it for that. We didn't do it for Trump. We did it for the country, and it was obviously the right decision. And he ultimately won. They were wrong. We were right. So, yeah. So I was I was being attacked by the right in 2015 and 2016. Then I was attacked from the left in 2017 to 2024. Now I'm being attacked by the right again. And it just tells me I'm being consistent. And it just shows how everybody else just kind of moves and changes their mindset and their politics and everything else depending on who's in power and what. And they really don't have any base to stand on. They really don't have any foundation. But other than to just deal with the attacks that don't really bother me, I've been dealing with ever I started in politics. It really just comes down to I'm right. Okay? I was right about the Iran strikes damaging Trump's base. I was right about turning on Elon Musk, now hurting Republicans. And now you're looking at a situation where even the people that attacked me are panicking and freaking out about how the coalition is done and the Democrats are going to win the midterms. I said that a month ago and you attacked me for it. So it's just like, I'm just reporting facts. I'm just doing political play-by-play, calling it as I see it on the field. It's like if I'm sitting in a booth, if I'm sitting in a sports booth and a guy fumbles the ball, the home team fumbles the ball, and I said, oh, the ball is fumbled, and the opposing team gets it. Somebody, he didn't fumble the ball. That wasn't a fumble. How dare you call it a fumble? And then here comes the other team running out on the field with their quarterback about to score, and it's like, see, there it is. There's a fumble. So it's just weird, man. It's just we're in this hyper speed zone where the political landscape is changing like a tsunami, like a flood just hit it, and it's just wild to see.
No, for sure, Owen, for sure. But I wanted to give my take on the whole situation that you was talking about with, you know, the Epstein and Israel and everything. And my take on it, you know, may not be, you may or may not agree with it. A lot of this audience may or may not agree with it. But what I feel is to get mad at somebody like Bongino or Patel or Levitt is just pointless because they're just useful idiots. And it's not so much that that Trump or America, you know what I mean? To ask if they're being blackmailed is like to ask if the sun's going to come up in the morning. Of course they're being blackmailed. Now, Epstein, Maxwell, the ties to Mossad are obvious. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was a known Mossad agent over in Europe. And I believe that ultimately, if you want to understand why, you know, it's politics as usual, why it's always Israel, it's because they're the ones. It's not so much to say that, like, I understand on the surface you can look and say we don't need Israel, Israel needs us, but in all reality, I believe it's that Israel owns us. Now, like I said, I might have a more extreme opinion about the matter.
Well, they own our politicians. I would say if there's any dynamic here that ties into the Epstein situation, it's our politicians are blackmailed probably by Israel. Who knows who else? And how could you deny? I mean, Israel has the most penetrative surveillance and spy apparatus in the world. I mean, look what they were able to do to Hamas with the pagers. Look what they were able to do with Iranians' leadership. Spying on them. Look what they were able to do just in the body of Iran. Imagine what they're able to do here.
Well, no, and I think that people.
Not to mention they have all of their agents. They have all these agents all over social media too.
Oh no, for sure, Owen. But the other thing, I think people are missing the point on, we're being fed this. I see a lot even from the normie right, of the anti-Muslim stuff, whatever, and that's all fine and good. I don't want Muslims coming in this country either, but it, a lot
Well,
of
they're
people
just
miss the
stuck in
point.
this. They're just stuck in this loop of everything is Democrat versus Republican, and
Right,
Islam is your enemy. They're just stuck in the loop. That's their comfort zone. They can't leave that comfort zone. It's all they've known, and so that's all that is.
right. Well, you see, I believe the Muslims are just simply, I guess you could to put it in like to paraphrase it or to frame it or whatever. The Muslims are just simply the bullet that's being put into the gun that's ultimately being fired by Israel. This all goes back to Israel and the to Zog. Basically, this all goes back to Zog, the Zionist occupied government. And it's not just America; it's every free Western quote free Western civilization. Look at the invasions in Europe. Look at the invasions in Canada. Look at the invasions here. Look at the invasions in Australia, New Zealand. It goes on. All the majority white countries are being invaded by non-white migrants that are,
Yeah,
taking jobs from the economy, causing violence in the streets. But the only finger we're
destroying our
allowed to point
culture.
is at the Muslims.
Yeah, destroying our culture. And by the way, and it's good to hear from you again. Thanks for calling tonight. By the way, I don't know if you saw this, but now Israel is claiming that the West is dead. So they've successfully killed the host. The parasite has successfully killed the host, and now they're looking to latch on to Asia now. It's just unbelievable. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Robert?
All right, Robert, what's up?
Oh, gosh, I got in quick. Hey, I knew there was something off in the aura. I listened to the Dinesha and Nick Fuentes debate, and I sat down as a gambler and said, oh, Dinesh is going to destroy this guy. And then I sat and I watched it, and when it was all over as neutral, I said, Nick Fuentes just won this debate. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, well, I always kind of figured most of the people, if they were judging it, were just going to judge it upon their own belief system. And I think it's a generational line where, baby boomers and up feel Dinesh D'Souza was right about everything. And probably Gen X and down would be more in favor of Nick Fuentes' worldview. But I think the reason why Fuentes won the debate is because that generation, which has been stuck in the same propaganda loop for their entire lives, as I said earlier, they just view everything as, oh, it's Democrat, it's Republican. That's why Dinesh started calling Nick Fuentes a Democrat, which is obviously not, because they just look at everything like that. It's like, oh, if you don't support Israel, you're just a leftist liberal Democrat. Well, no, it's way more complex than that. But I think the reason why Fuentes ends up winning, and it's the same reason why Ted Cruz really got embarrassed by Tucker Carlson, they have never been forced to defend their stance on Israel. They've never been forced to defend it. All they've ever had to say was, oh, actually forced to defend their stance on the issues, they don't know what to do because they can't just say, oh, you sound like a Democrat or you're an anti-Semite. It doesn't work anymore. So I think that's kind of the issue that Dinesh ran into. And either way, though, I think it back down to the same thing. We are just done. We're done with the Middle East. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of the Israelis everywhere on social media. I'm sick of the Israelis everywhere over the White House, all over this administration, continuing to manipulate our foreign policy. I'm done with it.
Owen, I'm 55. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 55. And I called in one day, said I don't even want to hear about Nick Fuentes anymore. And just to even sit down and have a clear head and listen to that, I was like, wow. And I was scratching because I would have lost money in Vegas. I would have taken the money line, and easy money to Dinesh to win it,
Yeah.
I would have lost.
He was probably the favorite. I don't know, depending on who you ask. It was close.
Oh, okay. So that's what I was going with. But also with everything going on now, I live on the nice little beaches of Florida here. I'm about done, about ready to just go to the Ozarks or over to some little mountains in Tennessee and just call it a career. I mean, that's how bad I feel. I've been kicked in the balls.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think, it's hard to express in words, right? It's hard to express in words. You're finding your way to express it here. Don, the first caller, had his way of expressing it. I'm trying to express it in my way. But I guess, boil it down. We feel like we've been kicked in the balls. We feel like part of our soul has just been sucked from our bodies, and we're just like, hey, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like any combat zone you've been in, and when you get back, and then all of a sudden you really realize what happened over there, and you were there. It's just like, oh, I'll go because you're 35, so you more analyze with the Afghanistan war. So all of a sudden you find out you're this guy over there fighting for freedom, and you're guarding poppy fields. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and even the guy that killed bin Laden is starting to get really more public about questioning the intent of the war and who's it really for, Israel or America. So even Robert O'Neill, I believe is the name, who's a great guy, by the way. Even he is starting to sit here and kind of get more public about this. But how could you not? How could you ignore this? It's so obvious. It's so in our face. And I think another issue of it too is the pushback, right? I mean, it'd be one thing if it was kind of like political conversations or debate is normal, but the pushback you get for just saying, hey, maybe our term with Israel and our Middle East ally is up, or hey, maybe this partnership with Israel hasn't benefited us, or hey, maybe our foreign policy in the Middle East has been detrimental. It's just like, oh my God, anti-Semite. Oh my God, you don't get it. Oh my God, you're a terrorist sympathizer. Oh my God, you love the Muslims. Oh my God, you love the mullahs. It's like, what? Nobody even said that. So then that just pushes you even further to the other side of the aisle.
I'm not arguing with you.
No, I know. I'm just trying to express it in another way.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
I'm trying to figure out how to argue with you right now, and I
well,
can't.
Have you seen those images? Musk used to share this all the time. How it's a guy standing in the center, and the left keeps going farther to the left, and then eventually you're like on the right because he keeps going so far to the left. Have you seen these?
No, I haven't. You just reminded me of my sheepdog when I was a kid. My parents would throw a lavish party, and the next thing you know, we were all standing in the middle of the center of the living room. Does that make sense?
Did you have a what kind of sheepdog did you have?
Australian.
Okay, those are great dogs if you can train them.
Oh, well, yeah.
Tough to train, but if you can, yeah. Well, I was just saying it like this. I was just saying it like this, and I thank you for the call. That's what's happened with the Israel issue. So it's like, I mean, really, because I was a neutral. I was a neutral, maybe even a positive on Israel. I was probably neutral, positive on Israel. But it's the same phenomenon like the left right. It's like somebody's standing in the middle, and then the left goes so far to the left that now they're standing on the right. I was like neutral, positive on Israel. But now the Israel lobby, the Israel supporters and everything, now it's gone so far extreme to Israel first that now I'm anti-Israel. So it's like, it's the same phenomenon with the left and the right. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Max from Wisconsin.
What's up, Max?
Hey, I'm kind of disappointed as like everyone is with Epstein revelations going on right now. But like, honestly, you've been doing this for so long and it's kind of unfortunate, but I don't know. I really kind of expected it because I think it's just so horrible and that they can't release it, that people's brains, you saw what happened during COVID. I think people's brains would just fracture and break, when they saw the industrial use, the intelligence operations with the CIA and Mossad, organ harvesting and adrenochrome, all that stuff is just too taboo. And I think you're totally right that, it's up to the people to push the administration to kind of force them to do what they want,
Well, so
because they're not going to
I
solve
guess
this case.
I guess the question is then, do you want to be treated like a baby?
Exactly. No, and they're babying us.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one thing to have leadership, but if they're not going to solve the case, there's other ways to do it. Like for example, in Serbia, they had 17 people die because a train station collapsed, and there was like 200,000 people on the street in the weekend. We don't see that here for Epstein. And then like how you saw yourself when J6 happened, they clamped down on like crazy on any people who form a group that is a legitimate threat to the power structure. But with Epstein, it's a crazy case because obviously, Harrison mentioned it, and you were mentioning it with Israel, but they had like a strict rule of they weren't allowing any Jewish victims. And I think that's a big touchy subject because
with Epstein.
Pardon?
You're talking about the Epstein victims?
One of the Epstein victims, she said that they had a rule that they didn't allow any Jewish children to be violated or Jewish.
I hadn't heard that.
Escorts. Ask Harrison about it.
Okay. I haven't heard
people
that.
always say like, who's the body? Who's the body they had?
Let me respond to that shortly here, because this is something that I kind of try to tread lightly on while covering it. It's one of the most difficult things to cover because of how sensitive it is. But I mean, if there is a group of people that is actually exhibiting supremacist beliefs, it is Jews, and it is mostly Israeli Jews. And I would say the Israeli Jews, not the Orthodox Jews, are the most entitled brats in the world today. They are the most entitled, petulant, spoiled, arrogant brats in the world today. And the world is sick. The world is sick. And the reason why this is so hard to talk about, because I hate what's been done to just the average Jewish person in America now that gets villainized and demonized. That has nothing to do with this. I was just on a friend of mine's podcast he's Jewish, and he was telling me how he's really, he's been grinding really hard in the media game for a long time. And, he's just kind of asked me like, hey, how do you make it? How do you get big? I've been grinding at it, but I just can't seem to get any growth. Like, what do I do? And yet, because he's Jewish, people will just say, oh, you don't know anything. Like, oh, you're, Jewish supremacist. It's like, no, he's not. I grew up around Jewish people in St. Louis, always had a good time with them. So it's like, but it's like you can't even really talk about it without being labeled on one extreme side or the other. So it's just like, if I just say the word Jewish supremacist, now all of a sudden I'm an anti-Semite. But can you not deny that is their teaching? Can you not deny that is their religious doctrine? It's like, I don't even care. I don't even care if some Jewish person thinks he's superior to me. It shouldn't affect me. It shouldn't make a difference to me, because
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house, know what condition it's in. If you need to,
I live in my own independent country, and I'm my own independent sovereign citizen. But then when everything I do pays for what Israel wants to do, and all the Israelis are celebrating this Trump administration more than I am, well, now it becomes a little bit of a personal issue for me. So that's kind of, it's a tough thing to walk on. It's like walking on grass. It's like walking on glass, because it's like, no, we're not anti-Semites, but we're sick of the Israeli influence and maybe just outright control of our government and our foreign policy. And I'm sick of these Israeli agents that have penetrated America's social networks, pretending to be America first, when we all know they're just agents of Mossad or the IDF.
Yeah, they're gonna play dirty, but like, what people fail to talk about is like you do remember for sure how they were just not going nonstop with the Nazi stuff. Everything was about the Holocaust and Nazis.
Oh, they did it again. The New York Post. Hey, listen to this. Hey, let me ask you if you think this is a coincidence. The New York Post just published a story a couple hours ago. The world is still not recovered, or the Jewish world has still not recovered from the Holocaust. How Jews are still suffering from the results of the Holocaust. They published that headline an hour ago. I'll pull it up for you.
Yeah, well, New York is a failed state, but I'm glad you brought up New York, because that's crucial. I think with the Epstein saga, he had Zora Ranch, but I think a lot of it was going on in New York, as you saw how he was able to get out, everyone remembers that morning of where he apparently died. There was like an armored vehicle that just like booked it from the jail, caught on Twitter at the time, from the jail to the private airfield, and the private jet went right away to Tel Aviv. And people always say, like, okay, well, if Epstein's alive and he had a body double, who was the body in the pictures